صلى الله عليك يا رسول الله صلى الله عليك يا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة ما خاب من تمسك بكم وأمن من لجأ إليكم يا ليتنا كنا معكم سادتي فنفوز والله فوزا عظيما. All together. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. السلام عليكم جميعا يا شهداء كربلاء ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. أما بعد، يقول الله في كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألا بذكر الله تطمئن القلوب. آمنا بالله. صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد. I'm sure we can get a louder salawat than that. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. How do we set in our lives goals and remain persistent on them is an idea and question that is not religiously exclusive. Meaning, this is a passion where you don't have to be Muslim in order to long for, nor Christian, nor Jewish. Every human being wants to be able to have determined goals and the possibility and determination to achieve them. At the end of the day, whenever we set out on ambitions, we hope to one day be able to reach the point where we meet the expectation that we set for ourselves. We only do these things, the goals that we set in our lives, and become steadfast in trying to achieve them in order to attain happiness. Otherwise, there would be no point in setting goals, in putting forth lifelong projects, if it's not going to attain us happiness, either us or those that we love from around us. So which part in the Imam alayhi salam's life, on the 10th of Muharram, do we notice that there was always a lifelong goal that he aimed to achieve? And how can we extrapolate that principle and lesson in order for us, inshallah, to be able to look at any obstacle in our life and say we're able to overcome it, to go beyond it? At the end of the day, it's only to attain happiness. And there are many ways to attain happiness. Many people set their goals in issues concerning finance. We have financial goals. Some of our youth always dream big, which is great. One day they dream of being billionaires, multi-millionaires. Although a billionaire is more rich than a millionaire, so aim high, inshallah. It doesn't matter, aim high. Many of us dream and set our goals in marital issues. We want to get married eventually, find Mrs. Perfect or Mr. Perfect, and have 1,000 children. We have these dreams. Perhaps not right now, the youngsters. Let's just say, for example, we want to graduate high school. You're not in high school, middle school, then high school, then college, and then attain my PhD, and become someone that's academically successful and achieved. All of this stems back to the idea of having goals and the determination and willingness to achieve them. Otherwise, it would be counterintuitive and irrational to want to achieve something that you know 100% sure you're never going to be able to achieve it. But there's always that famous phrase, never say never, because everything is possible if there's a will. And like they say, where there's a will, there's a way. But we look into our lives and sometimes we find that the goals we set before in the past, in our history, have not been met. And so this discourages us and forms a deterrent in allowing us to achieve and set forth lifelong goals, big projects within our lives. And so we have to reevaluate and start small. There are roughly 3 ways, my dear respected brothers and sisters, as to how we can go by going around this issue of setting life projects, aims, and goals, and actually being persistent in achieving them. Be them big, be them small. Let's look at this topic, my dear respected brothers and sisters, by first analyzing a narration by our holy Imam, Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen, salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi, whereby the Imam states, Al-'adat qahirat. Normalization is reprehensible. What does that mean? Meaning, al-'adat, stemming from the word adi, or something that's normal, something people deem normal and regular, is, let's say, deplorable, is qahirat. Have you ever heard of makruh, let's say, for example? Qahir, something that's reprehensible. What is the Imam trying to say? That our normal day-to-day actions are wrong because we're doing them? Our 9-to-5 job? Not necessarily. But what he's trying to say is if you live your life where all you do is repeat, that's reprehensible. Al-'adatu qahirat. So change things up in your life. If you keep doing the same thing over and over and only achieving the same results and not progressing in your life, that's not haram. The Imam doesn't say that. But he says you could do better than that. You weren't made and created just to 9 to 5 every single day. You only get Sundays off and then like 1 week vacation throughout the year. No, change your life. Aim big. And even the Western culture has understood this principle, that aim for the moon. If you miss, you land amongst the where? The stars. Give it your best shot. But make sure that what you are doing has some change to it. Some may call it spice it up. If you're working 9 to 5, maybe ask for a promotion if it's been years and all you've been doing is just repetitive nonsense practically. Or you're doing a lot of work, the same type of work, and you're not seeing any benefits, but you're expecting benefits and consequences. Now that's the definition of insanity, where you keep repeating the same thing over and over, but expecting different results, and you're not getting any of them. Hence why the Imam, alayhi salam, brings about a wonderful principle within all aspects of our lives. Think about it. What's something that you've been doing for the last X amount of years, over and over, and it really hasn't gotten you anywhere? Now there are some things and actions that we do for the sake of necessity. Say, I go to work, I may not like it, but that's important, it's necessary. Those are things that would be considered exempt from this type of concept. You do your obligation. Because if you have to provide, then that's a wajib act. And nafaqa is wajib for the family, from the brothers. And to tend to the family, and so on and so forth. But there are actions in our lives that we see no improvement. For example, let's just bring an example in regards to prayer. Some of us pray on time exactly, but we are not noticing any benefit in our spirituality. And the Quran says that salah, إن الصلاة تنهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر, that prayer makes me stay away from evilness and vice. Shar, fahsha, that's stuff that's completely reprehensible in the eyes of Allah. But I am praying and I'm still doing these wrong things. Fahsha and munkar. And so over and over, but I see no benefit. Should I just stop? According to Imam Ali, al-'adat qahirat, because I'm doing it all the time. And moreover, I'm seeing no benefit. So should I just stop prayer? No, obviously not. But the point is, you don't just do prayer and then expect immediate changes. You don't go to the gym and practice or train with the coach 3 days, 5 days, and expect to become the best player or the best athlete. It takes these guys years. And like they say, Rome wasn't built in a day. It takes years to construct the greatest of all empires in history. Likewise, it will take years to construct the body. But there are pathways we can speed up that process. We can speed that process up by setting our goals and knowing how to achieve them realistically. So my prayer that will naturally throughout time become more sincere and genuine can actually be met genuinely and sincerely at a quicker rate. How so? By implementing these three things, my dear respected brothers and sisters, let's begin analyzing them after a lot of salawat ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Number one, set your goals small. You cannot jump in the deep end of the pool if you don't know how to swim. You can't begin sprinting if you don't know how to walk. You cannot walk if you don't know how to crawl. You can't crawl if you at least don't make the effort. So set your goals small, brothers and sisters. It's like anyone who's been dealing through a situation that has been bothering them, and they just want to get over it, but it's been bothering them for so many years. For example, smoking. Somebody who has been smoking for about 50 years. They want to stop. Are they going to stop the next day? No. Maybe some people, Allah's blessed them, they can turn on and off. But for the most part, it's difficult. So what do? If it's like 2 packs in a day, which is very bad and dangerous, then they convert it to 1 pack. Next week, half. The week after, a fraction. The following week, 1. And then the next week, stop. Gradually, progressively, you will be able to meet your goal if you take things step by step. Don't rush things. We are here, inshallah ta'ala, and we're here to stay. And so with that being said, have long-term plans. The Imam, salamullahi alayhi, states this: work for your dunya as if you'll live forever, but worship your Lord as if you'll die tomorrow. So have long-term plans and expect that my ambitions and my resolutions, I want to meet them by next month or next year. Like the New Year's resolutions everyone sets, only 3/4 of them actually set them, and then only 1/4 of them actually try to meet their goals, and only a fraction of that actually manage to meet their goals. No, set them realistically and state that by this date, this is my plan, how I'm going to do it. Start gradually. I'd like to share with you a story regarding a man by the name of Ruzba, and he lived approximately in the year 600 of the Common Era, or as we say AD. So around the time of the inception of Islam. Interestingly to note, I'd like your attention here. The Holy Prophet of Islam announced the mission of Islam in the year 611 AD. I believe these dates are fundamental to memorize. They're just the basics. Some of us know when our country was discovered, but not when Islam was brought forth to man and womankind. It's fair to just a few numbers, learn them. 6 what? If you were listening? 611, mashallah. Only the young ones answer me. It shows that the generations to come are really bright, inshallah. 611 AD. We'll say AD because that's the calendar that we have today, or whatever you want to refer to it as, of the Common Era, so on. 611 years after the Holy Prophet Christ, peace and blessings be upon him, and his mother. The Holy Prophet was born when? Who knows when? If the Prophet announced his message at 611, and he was roughly 40 years of age, he was born 500 when? Who knows, who can do the math? What? Ahsan, sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. We need to encourage our youth, so much so, you do not realize the amount of passion that builds when, mashallah, we have bright faces that are actually able to answer Islamic questions with confidence like that. Ahsant. 500 and what? 71. Let's get a louder salawat. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Ala Muhammad. Rasulullah, Habibullah was born exactly like the beautiful brother said, 571 AD. This is Khatamun Nabiyyin. It's fair to know that date. 571. Inshallah, you'll never forget now. Ahsantum. His message was announced when? 6, we said, what? 11. 611 AD. Inshallah ta'ala. That's what we have right now. This brother, or this personality by the name of Ruzba, he was born in modern day Iran, Tehran possibly, and at the time the dominant religion was Zoroastrianism, Al-Majus. And these individuals, they are split into various factions. There are those who literally worship flames, and some of them worship the sun. But at that time, in that particular region, they were worshipping fire. This individual by the name of Ruzba, this example will tie in, inshallah, to lifelong goals. He saw that his family, who by the way were wealthy, were rich, they had land, and they were noble in their community. He practically lived in a villa, and he was a Zoroastrian, this man, Ruzba. And so they worship flames, family and the culture and the society pushed for this. And he, deep down inside, didn't really get it. He's like, why are we worshiping fire? It doesn't make sense to me, it's not logical. Until one of these days, but because obviously you're born into that type of society, by default, will be the way that you adhere to. One of these days, the days in which he was doing his research on the various religions out there, he ran into a Christian monk, a loyal, humble, loyal to his faith, humble and modest Christian monk, and he observed him worshiping God. And he was really interested in looking at other faiths, because the faith that he, at the time, ascribed to, deep down inside, didn't really settle well. Fire, how can that be Allah? Explain that to me. And he never really got his answers. And again, just a reminder, he lives in a villa and he's rich. So he doesn't need to look for answers. He could just relax and chill and, why bother yourself? But he wants to find the truth. He runs into a Christian monk and he asks him a few questions. The monk is actually able to answer him from the Bible directly at that time. And he's able to quote and he's able to reference, and he's not telling him, don't answer, don't ask these questions. And so he becomes fond of the religion of Christianity. Now to note, this was preceding the years in which Islam was widespread. So he had not heard about Islam. Islam was just coming. And so he converted to Christianity. But once he converted to Christianity, his family and his local community members threw him in prison. They threw him in a cellar. How dare you convert? You can't do that. It's difficult when you go against what the entire community and your forefathers have been doing. Surah Yasin alludes to this. لِتُنْظِرَ قَوْمًا مَا أُنْظِرَ آبَاءَهُمْ فَهُمْ غَافِلُونَ. We understand the difficulty of your mission. You're trying to guide a group of people whose grandfathers and forefathers were not guided. They were misguided. It's not easy to let go of the centuries of certain mindset and thinking and ideology and doctrine. But he changed this Ruzba, this individual. He became a Christian monk, they threw him in jail. He's in jail, so he begins to write to the Christian community as he's in prison. Guys, let me out. I need to escape. I'm just gonna rot in this prison. They broke him out, but now he's a wanted man, a fugitive. So what does he do? His parents have disowned him pretty much, and his community has exiled him and ostracized him. What does he do? He runs away with that Christian monk. Where does this individual head out to? He goes to Sham, because Syria, Sham, Damascus, at the time, especially that time, the 7th century era, it was the hub of Christianity. Sham. It still has the great Christian Orthodox influence there, but at the time particularly, it was the hub and central headquarters of Christianity, not the Vatican. And so he wanted to head there. Naturally, if you want to learn more about your faith, you go there. And this is only traditional. If we, inshallah ta'ala, want to pursue Islamic studies, there are multiple places to go, but in particular 2 places. Either Najaf al-Ashraf, by the vicinity of Amir al-Mu'mineen, or Qum al-Muqaddasa, near Sayyida al-Tahira al-Mutahira Fatima al-Ma'suma, salamullahi alayhim ajma'in. In order to continue pursuing further education in our religion. This man, Ruzba, wants to do that. So he goes. He just wants to find the truth, brothers and sisters. It's not like he's dying to follow a certain way and that's it and be blind. He just wants to find the truth. He goes to Syria, he studies there, years pass by, until he makes his way to Mosul, and then he makes his way to Turkey, going to the central areas where all the emphasis on religion is taught. In Turkey, he is studying as a disciple, a pupil under a mentor who was of the highest caliber in Christian theology. That monk was on his deathbed. He was dying, and it's difficult when your teacher dies. It's not easy. A teacher, according to the Holy Prophet, there are 3 people who you have the right to call my dad, my father. Your biological dad. Who else? Your uncle is considered an ab. Hence, Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam in the Holy Quran, Azar is referred to as ab, correct? But Ibrahim, according to the Quran, these great prophets of Allah, they come from a line of only individuals that have been doing sujood to Allah, not polytheistic. So Azar isn't his father, because that would contradict the Holy Quran and the narrations. It's actually his uncle, according to the saying of the Holy Prophet, Al-Am mithlul ab, or Al-Am kal-ab. That the uncle is just like the father. In which way? If the father passes away, the uncle takes in the family, the sons and the daughters. Why? Why exactly? Because he's mahram to the children. So he occupies that position. Likewise, the aunt is just like the mother as well. Peace be upon the children of Abu Abdullah, who when they lost their father, their mother and father became a Sayyidah Zainab alayhi salam. But in any case, and the third category is whom? The teacher. The teacher is also considered like your father. You call your teacher Ab, if they treat you like a fatherly figure. So this mentor to this individual, Ruzba, who's trying to find the truth, is dying. And he's crying on his deathbed. I'm going to miss you. Where am I going to seek more knowledge? He says to him, my beloved student, you were with me and you stayed with me. And everyone came and went, but you stayed under me. I will share with you a secret. In our ancient scriptures, if you really want to continue your education, because I'm going to leave, it states in our ancient scriptures that there will be a man who will emerge from the Arabian Peninsula. They're where? In Turkey. He will emerge and he will be called Ahmed. I need you to go find this promised prophet of Allah and he will be your next mentor. The scriptures in the Old Testament and the Bible, the New Testament, before their fabrications were implemented by those who came after the Prophet Jesus, peace be upon him, mention the name of the Holy Prophet. And there are certain passages that also allude to it, but the name is taken away, where if you look clearly, you'll find it. For example, some verses will talk about a shaheed who will be martyred by the Euphrates River, and his sword will be drenched with blood, and he will be drenched with blood, and he will be a shaheed. This never happened in Christianity in the history of it. Nor did it happen post-Christianity, only in one case, in the year 680 after Hijrah, when Abu Abdullah was slain, martyred by the Euphrates River. But you'll find these eluded there, so not everything is taken away. That's why we do believe, and we hold clear in the school of Ahlul Bayt, that these ancient texts are sacred. The Bible and the Torah, they are. But there are some elements in there that have been tampered with. So we cannot completely take them as authority in our lives. Moreover, because the Quran now came, and obviously brings us the best of information, and is the rope that leads us back to Rabbul Alameen subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he tells them, go and join whoever this man is, be from amongst his followers. And his mentor dies. This individual, Ruzba, wants to just find the truth now. He wants to continue his higher education. All of a sudden, what did he hear? A new prophet is coming. How powerful. Imagine somebody told you right now that not prophet, but the imam of your time is coming and he is going to appear in this location. What would you do? What would be the first thing you would do? Would you say, I have something to do at home, I can't? No, you would want to make the effort. This is the imam. This is God's emissary. Hujjatullah ala khalqah. And so he really wants to go, but he doesn't know the way. And mind you, he comes from where? Iran at the time. So what does he speak? He doesn't necessarily speak Arabic, so he's going to have a hard and difficult time. He finds a caravan making its way to some place. He asks them, where are you guys headed? They mention, we're going to the Arabian Peninsula. He immediately takes this as an opportunistic moment. Can I come with you? They say, no. Can I come with you if I offer you cash and money, everything I have? So he offers everything he has to them. They are like, okay, you can come with us. They reach Medina. Look at this journey. Begins in Iran, goes to Syria, stays there, goes to Mosul, Iraq, stays there, studies and learns, then goes to Turkey, stays there until his mentor dies, and all of a sudden he's heading down to the Arabian Peninsula. This caravan that was taking him in order to show him the way, stopped at the edge, the outskirts of the city of Medina al-Munawwara. Before they got to Medina, they told the people of Medina, this man is our slave. He was like, what? No, yeah, you're our slave. And if he tells you otherwise, he's just lying. Look, he can't even speak Arabic. It's clearly he's our slave. They basically backstabbed him. And so they sold him. Take him. They wanted money. And so they sold him. He stays in Medina as a slave. They sold him to somebody from Banu Qurayza, I believe, the Jewish tribe, either Qurayza or Banu Qaynuqa. Because Medina is very pluralistic in the diversity that it has regarding the denominations. Banu Qaynuqa, Banu Nadir, Banu Qurayza, Jewish tribes, Christian tribes, so on and so forth. Later on, Muslims. That area, by the way, the reason why we have Christians in Medina at that time and Jews was because their ancient texts told them that there will be a man from that region who will become the last prophet. Otherwise, what is it to the Christian living in Palestine, living in Iraq, to come in the desert and do nothing? Why are they there? Have you guys seen it? May Allah bless you all to go to Medina al-Munawwara, Ilahi Ameen, and Mecca al-Mukarramah, Ya Allah Ta'ala. But the thing is it a tundra, a verdant land? Is it lush and green? No, it's a desert. It would be counterintuitive to your livelihood if you don't know how to live in the desert with the best information when you come and you live there. So why did the Jews and Christians live in Medina to begin with? Because they had in their texts. Otherwise they would they would stay in Egypt. They would stay in Palestine. They would stay in Iraq. But there was already a community there because they were anticipating the next prophet. He gets told to somebody from one of the members of the Jewish tribes, and so he begins to study Judaism. Look at the religions he went through. Zoroastrianism, Christianity, and all the places he went to. Now he's studying Judaism. He's a legit scholar, which is a lesson for all of us. As much as we need to study Islam, be open-minded enough to learn about other religions as well, such that you're not ignorant. The worst situation you can be through in your life is a situation of ignorance. When somebody asks you a question, or you, and go, in this school of thought, or in that religion, do you know the first thing about it? It shows, if you can respond to them, that you're open-minded enough, you've done enough research, and then you concluded Islam's the way. Not that you were just born into Islam, that's why you were a Muslim. I looked at every other faith, and then I concluded Islam was the way. Learn your religion, don't inherit it. We said this multiple times, as Amir al-Mu'mineen Salamullahi alayhi states. And so it's fair to study other ways and other schools of thoughts and other ideologies, but when you do so, do it with no bias, open heart, and look what will happen. You'll just end up back with Islam Ahlul Bayt. It's only the natural way. So he studies Judaism. All of a sudden, he hears the Jews saying, look at these people of Medina, they're so foolish. They believe this man who claims to be a prophet. You're visiting them from Mecca. They're so silly. A new prophet. They don't know what's good for them. Instantly, this individual, Ruzba, new prophet? Here? Yeah, they say to him, be quiet. You have no say in this. You're just a slave. He's like, no, tell me, where is this new prophet? They say, listen, we're not going to tell you anything. And so, he's confined, but he's scared. He wants to find the Holy Prophet. So he sneaks out one of these days. And he approaches where the Prophet was staying. Rasulullah, peace and blessings be upon him and his progeny. But he knows that there are signs to prove that he is a prophet. He's an alim, he's a scholar, he studied every religion at the time. And so he knows that there are signs. There are 3 signs that proved Rasulullah was Rasulullah. What were they? Number 1, the Prophet will never accept sadaqah. He will not accept charity. Number 2, the Prophet of Islam will accept gifts, not charity. Number 3, he will have the seal of Nubuwwah on his shoulder. He goes and he carries dates. He's a farmer, he was a slave, and he works in the fields, so he has dates. He carries 2 bundles of dates. And he goes to the Prophet and he sees the Prophet sitting with his companions. By the way, he immediately sees that the Prophet is outside, and that wherever he walks, the clouds stay above his head. It's as if Allah wants to protect him from the sunlight and to make sure he doesn't get harmed from the exposure of that heat. Even the clouds love you, Ya Rasulullah. And so he sees these signs from the distance. And he approaches the Prophet, and he greets the Holy Messenger, and he offers him and everyone with him dates. He goes, O Prophet of Allah, this is a charity. This is charity from me to you. It's sadaqah. So he offers everyone, everybody's eating the dates, except Rasulullah. He sees, okay, criteria 1, check. He doesn't accept sadaqah, he's not eating it. He does this, he pulls the other bundle of dates. He goes, Ya Rasulullah, this is for all of you guys, but this one is just a gift. Just a gift. It's not the case where if you are in need, charity, then you can use it. No, just a gift. Rasulullah takes it, begins eating it. Criteria 2, check. The last requirement and demand is what? What was it? Does anybody remember? What? You're pointing here? The seal of prophet. What is the seal of prophethood? Hadiths mention that it is likely a birthmark that is on the shoulder of the blessed shoulder of the Holy Prophet that indicates that this is the seal, almost like a khatim. They say khatim al-anbiya, khatim al-rusul, that he is the last and final prophet. This was symbolic to that meaning. The mark he has on his shoulder, the mark of nubuwwah, that there will be no more prophet after him. And so how does he go and look at that? It's under the prophet's blessed clothing. So how does he do that? And he's too shy to ask. So you know what he does? He's following, he's like, can I accompany you? The prophet says, of course. And he's behind him. All he's trying to do is just look. You know the opening between the neck right here? He's just trying to look, but without making things awkward and without asking him. The prophet instantly knows what he wants. He says, come here, look at this. And he does this, and he opens the clothing up, and he shows him the mark. Without him even telling him that this is what he was after. He sees it, and he goes, are you the awaited one? Are you the man that the scriptures have been mentioning? The man who the lips of Moses promised? The man who Jesus foreshadowed? Are you the Ahmed? He says, indeed, I am Rasulullah. And then he announced, وَإِنِّي أَشْهَدُ أَنْ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ وَأَنَّكَ أَنْتَ يَا مُحَمَّدْ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صلوا على محمد. Rasulullah looks at this individual and he tells him, I know what was your story. You don't need to explain to me who you were or where you come from. Do you want me to tell you, or do you want to tell me it yourself? The man says, do you know what my story is? He's like, I'll tell you. He begins to retell him the whole entire story, affirming his nubuwwah. Then the Holy Prophet says to him, listen, today I'm going to change your name. What does he change his name to? Yes, Salman al-Farisi, Radwanullahi ta'ala alayh. But the people at the time are racist. You will never find, even today, unfortunately, even today, really racist, very. The Farisi, the Ajami, and they're laughing at him. You know, hadith tell us that they were the top companions of the Holy Prophet, Ammar bin Yasir, and these individuals, Al-Miqdad, and all of these wonderful, upright individuals, Salman al-Muhammadi, Abu Dhar al-Ghafari, that amongst the closest, if not the closest to Rasulullah, was this Salman al-Farisi, because he had to go all this way to find the truth. Gradually, but guess what he did? He eventually found the goal. That's why certain ahadith state that he was the closest sahabi. The closest to the Prophet was Amir al-Mu'mineen, because he was the nafs of the Holy Prophet. There's no doubt about that. But the closest companion, Salman, but they're racist. So what does he do? He's sad. He's almost in tears. And so Rasulullah sees him sad and down, almost depressed. Why are you sad, Ya Salman? They keep calling me Al-Ajami, the Farisi, the Irani. Look at him. He thinks he can come and just join this society and be one of us, and we'll treat him equally and fairly. We are the Arab. And they held their heads high like that, arrogance and ignorance. Rasulullah said, who's calling you this? Unfortunately, it was some of the Muslims themselves. Some of us, just because we're Muslim, doesn't mean we're perfect and immaculate. Again, it was self-proclaimed Muslims that made the worst atrocities. But nonetheless, Rasulullah said, they're saying this to you because you're the closest to me in our circle. He says, yes, unfortunately. Then from now on, you will not be called Salman al-Farisi. You will be called Salman al-Muhammadi. Salman, the Muhammad-like. And he pushed it further. Do you know what the Holy Prophet said than that? He said, Salman minna ahlul bayt. Allahu Akbar. That is an honor no companion had at all at the time. By the way, this is accepted in both schools of thought, Sunni and Shia. Salman minna ahlul bayt. It's part of the ahlul bayt at that point. And that's why the ahlul bayt love him with utmost passion and compassion. But notice his journey. He had to go through so much in order to find and ultimately achieve his goal. Which leads us to point number 2, brothers and sisters. When it comes to trying to establish our life mission, be determined and try to achieve our goal. Point number 1, we'll start gradually, step by step, you'll eventually reach your goal. Eventually. It may not be tomorrow. Again, Rome wasn't built in a day. Baby steps, you'll get there. You want to bench press, inshallah, 255 pounds. If you can't bench press 60, mashallah, these guys can bench press 300. You have to start small. You have to start small, then build your way up. You want to learn to sprint, learn to walk, learn to crawl, learn to make an effort, then you'll get there. I mean, you have to make an effort Gradually, progressively, you'll be able to reach your goal. Just like this wonderful individual, Salman al-Muhammadi. All he went through, eventually, he reached his goal. But it took time, baby steps. He had to become a slave at one point. It'll happen. Life is difficult, but remain forbearant, you'll get there. And the thing is, we can apply this in our lives in any aspect. We have long-term goals, but we can't achieve them. What do we do? Little, little. If I want to become more organized in my life, in my daily schedule, I can't just immediately think I'm going to be able to do that, have a 180, and then I'm on work exactly on time. I'm praying exactly on time. My schedule is perfect. I'm eating what I need to eat, avoiding the unhealthy stuff, so on and so forth. If you can't do that automatically, start by, for example, cleaning your room. Baby steps. How is that going to help me achieve my long-term goals? Because these things add up. When you have enough wins under your belt, that builds momentum. And the momentum helps you stay in shape. That look what I was able to achieve. This task is nothing. Because look at how much I have in my resume, my CV, of my day-to-day struggles that I have overcome. But you can't begin the big project without starting little, bit by bit and step by step. Which leads us to point number 2. Make sure, brothers and sisters, you have hope. Maybe perhaps, if you want to achieve, let's say, financial success, I want to become a millionaire, and you know it's going to take time, have hope. Strive for it, but have hope. Maybe perhaps Allah will bless you in the middle of that process. Perhaps you'll get there earlier than necessary. The dua, Allahumma innahu laysa li ilmun bimawdi'i rizqi. That, oh Allah, I don't know where the source of my wealth and my abundance will be. I really don't know. But I rely on you. Perhaps Allah will just give me it in the middle of my process. The second I begin, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Holy Quran says, وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لِنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. And those who strive for our cause, will give them our path. If you make it for the cause of Allah, Allah will help you. Allah will aid you. Only when you strive, جَاهَدُوا فِينَا الَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لِنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. If you strive for the cause of Allah, I will help you. The path will be there. I will guide you. It'll be easy. But make sure it's under my cause. That's the exception. Now, for example, how do I make my everyday life long-term goals for the cause of Allah? My goals are personal. I want to become a millionaire. What does that have to do with Allah? No, it has everything to do with Allah. If you make your intention regarding Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I want to become a millionaire so I can give back to society. Is that not something that will bring a smile to your religion? Of course it will. So Allah will be happy about that. Say, I want to become famous and rich so I can use it to give back to society. Why not? Does Allah in the Quran say, Al-malu wal-banun, zinatul hayatid dunya? That wealth and a big family, a lot of children, a big circle of friends and family, and wealth is an adornment. And adornments are appreciated. They're beautiful. When you adorn yourself with good clothing, you look good. Your house, you style it up on the inside, looks good, so that when you have guests, they don't look at it and go, do you live outside or inside? I can't tell. You make sure that everything you do is beautiful. And wealth is amongst these concepts, but I thought wealth is evil. No. The Bible may say that money is the source of all evil. Not necessarily. Imam Ali says, Al-mu'minu al-qawi khayrun min al-mu'min al-dha'if. That the strong mu'min, by the way, strong financially and physically. How else are you going to give back to society? Inaugurate charitable organizations. How else do you expect to do that if you don't have a means of which to do that? The prophets of God were rich. Nabiullah Sulaiman was a king/prophet. Dawood, king/prophet. The Holy Prophet of Islam himself was rich, but the richness wasn't used for personal gain. All of it he would give back to society. As Sayyidah Khadija, salamullahi alayha, ala hubbiha, sallu ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Was literally the only reason why Islam was alive at that time and is alive today. Had it not been for the wealth of Sayyidah Khadija and the sword of Ali ibn Abi Talib, Islam would have perished. Had it not been for the wealth. So you can use money to your advantage. Go ahead, but make sure you make your niyyah lillah rabbil alameen. By doing so, Allah will do what? He'll allow you to be able to reach that path. وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لِنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. I want to be rich to help to guide people back to you, Ya Allah. I want to, say for example, brush my teeth. That's a task. Inshallah, we all do that. It's a goal every single day. We will care about our oral hygiene. But how does that relate to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? How on earth does that even relate in any way? In iota of a way. Just me doing this. You make your intention that, Ya Allah, say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim before any act you do, that's by default. Number two, make your intention that, Ya Allah, I want to look clean to represent what an ideal Muslim is like. Moreover, it's the sunnah of the Holy Prophet. They would say whenever he, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, would smile, his teeth would shine like pearls. And they were white and beautiful. And his body naturally smelled like beautiful floral eloquence and fragrances. And he was eloquent in his speech. The clothing he wore, not a scratch on it. He would comb every day. He would tend to himself. He looked beautiful. And to the point, some people would say, Ya Rasulullah, who was more beautiful? Prophet Yusuf or you? We can't tell. We cannot take our eyes off of you. There were people who entered the religion of Islam just because they looked at the Holy Prophet. By the way, some of our ulama have a small sample of this characteristic. Haven't you seen some of our most wonderful ulama? You look at them, you see nur, subhanallah. Our grand ulama, Allah has blessed them. Where you look at them, what are you doing? You're worshipping Rabbul Alameen. And who says that? Who substantiates that? Ahlul Bayt. An-nadhar fi wajhi al-alam, ibadah. Looking in the face of a scholar is ibadah. But guess what? That's not enough. Looking in the face of who? Your friend is ibadah. That's why I want you all to right now look at your friend next to you and smile. Be like, I'm just worshipping Allah, don't mind me. Make it as awkward as possible. Come on, look at one another. Smile. You're worshipping Allah? An-nadhar fi wajhi al-sadiq, ibadah as well. Look and smile. Moreover, looking at your parents, smiling to them, that's ibadah as well. Brushing your teeth can become ibadah as well if you make sure the intention is lillah rabbil alameen. So make sure you have hope. There's one more story I'd like to share with you, and then inshallah we'll call it a night. There was a Sayyid by the name of Hujjatul Islam wal Muslimin, Muhammedhassan Alsheraa, from the city of Yazd, approximately a few centuries ago. This alim deen was a mujtahid. He alim of the highest caliber. He was knowledgeable. But guess what? He was very poor. And so there were nights he would sleep without food. Back then the situation was very bad, of course. So he was hungry. His payments were very low. Ulama usually don't get paid. They do the paying themselves. So the students get paid. So when you have a bunch of students, because of how knowledgeable you are, God help that alim deen, all his money is going to go to them. And so he's very low in the financial department, but he's very high in the ilm department. One of these days, he has just enough money. He's starving, by the way. He's walking back home from the madrasa, the hawza. And he knows he has a wife and 2 children waiting for him who are starving as well. He just has enough money to buy food. He goes to the market. Notice what he does. He purchases what you could call steak, a big chunk of meat, right? And he wants to take that home. On his way home, guess what he saw? Look at the rahmah of some of the ulama. It's unbelievable. He saw a dog, pregnant, starving, and the little pups are trying to suckle from the mom, but because the mom is starving, the bones can show, she doesn't have any milk. And the dog looks withered and frail. Brothers and sisters, animals are also makhlooq. And Allah states, the Ahlul Bayt state, مَنْ لَمْ يَرْحَمَ الْمَخْلُوقِ لَمْ يَرْحَمْهُ الْخَالِقِ. Show mercy to the creation, the Lord, the Creator will show mercy to you. Who cares if it's an animal? Who cares? Is that not a creation of Allah? Who cares? Show rahmah to it. Look what the Sayyid does. Sayyid Muhammad Baqir Hujjatul Islam wal Muslimin Al-Shafti. He goes and he's thinking, I can see the situation in my eyes. It's about to die and the pups will die too. And the dog looks like it's depressed. It knows it doesn't have any to give to the pups, but they're suckling and nothing's coming out. His heart breaks for an animal. Peace be upon the daughters and children of Aba Abdullah, who not a drop of water was given. I don't know how they were able to witness this, the opposition, and couldn't care less. When a man like our ulama right here, they look at animals and they begin to cry. What would you do, Ya Sayyidi, Muhammad Baqir, Hujjatul Islam, if you were in Karbala? What would happen? Wallah, I don't know. Some of us, we always say, we wish we would have been with you. I don't know how long we would stand until we faint out of sadness and depression. In any case, he takes the steak that he bought for his own family, for his children. They're hungry and he's hungry. But guess what he does? Look at the rahmah. He gives it to the dog. Here you have it. And his autobiography, read on it. Search him up, inshallah. Sayyid Muhammad Baqir, Hujjatul Islam al-Muslimin al-Shafti. He says that the dog instantly lifted its head to the sky like that, as if something was going on. As if, you see, when we want to have dua answered, where do? We go like this. Not saying that Allah is up or down, defined in a location, but to express our humbleness. Ya Allah, you are higher than us. Whenever we do dua, make sure you raise the hands. Ahlul Bayt mentioned this, by the way, in a hadith. Some people, when it comes to dua time, أَمَّا يُجِيبُ الْمُطْرِ, raise the hands. It's mustahab. Because you're not only expressing your intention with your lips, you're also expressing it with your hands. He says the dog looked up to the heavens and he doesn't know what's going on. He goes home and he says to his wife, how are things? She goes, is there any food? He says, no, there is no food. The next day, look at how rizq comes up to you. Look at how it just comes up to you. A man knocks on his door. Sayyidna, you have a distant cousin who had just passed away. He has no children, he has no parents alive, and you're the closest relative to him. Oh, and by the way, he was a multimillionaire. You inherited it all. And he inherited all of it. He got all that money, and he's also the alim of the area. He was the marja' din at the time, and he was the chief of the town. So whenever monetary issues or issues regarding finances were brought up, you have to consult him before anybody else. And he became famous in that regard. He was wealthy, but he spent it all back to the people. He had so much wealth that because he became of old age, back then there weren't really wheelchairs to push people around when you're that old, so they have to carry him. They say he was getting carried and he would have sacks of money, he was just throwing it to the people like that. He has too much, he doesn't know what to do with it. So he's throwing it back to the people. Look where he was when he was starving. He showed mercy to the creation. His goal of being able to become financially strong came to him. So have hope. Point number 2. Point number 3, and it is a good time to move on to this point. Lastly, Amirul Bayan, Ali ibn Abi Talib says, Sallu ala Muhammad. Let's get a louder salawat for the love of Ali ibn Abi Talib. Man zada aqluh, naqasa hadduh. Whose ever knowledge and intellect increases, his luck decreases. That's why somebody who isn't mentally stable, Allah doesn't expect on them salah. Their cognition is low. So what do they know about salah? Someone who's not mentally stable. They are not expected, they're not obligated to pray. No, because they can't. They don't know how. So their aql to that regard is low, but their health, their luck, because their chances of entering Jannah are guaranteed. Because it's not their fault. Okay? So Allah guarantees them salvation. But whose ever luck and intellect increases, brothers and sisters, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decreases their luck. And I tell you, nobody in this world, by the way, before we move on to that, the more you achieve your goals, the more difficult it'll become to maintain other goals. Because your aql increases. You now know how to get by obstacles. So now your luck will begin to decrease. Allah will challenge you more. The narration by our Imam alayhi salam, Imam al-Qadhim, salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayh, sallu ala Muhammad. مثل المؤمن مثل كفتي الميزان كلما زيد في إيمانه زيد في بلائه. The mu'min is like a scale. The more iman they have, the equal amount of tribulation they'll receive. And so remember, the more you are able to achieve your goals, the more you maintain forbearance in your iman, the more tribulation will come out in your way. Allah will test you more. I gave you all this, and you accepted and you passed, I'm going to up the test a bit more for you. There was nobody, brothers and sisters, who endured the highest iman, except that they had the highest level of tribulation and bala. And who on this earth has the highest of iman? The Prophet and the Imams of Ahlul Bayt. And wait till you see the musibah, brothers and sisters. What a musibah it is. Do you know that, psychologically speaking, we as parents, if we have children, we, if not subconsciously, think one day, that we will die before our children. It's only natural that we're older. We'll die before them. That's subconsciously, not directly. You'll be paranoid if you keep thinking about that. Subconsciously, it's back there. I'm going to be dead before my kids. That's the reality. Okay? And the children think the same thing in regards to their parents. It's a sad reality, but I'm younger and I have the health. So that's why if the children die before the parents, it's a very great shock. Salamullahi alayki ya Zainab, Awnan Muhammad. She expects one day they'll grow up, one day they'll get married. 13 years old Awn, 11 years old Muhammad. The sons of Abdullah ibn Ja'far al-Tayyar. Do you know what they did? On the 10th of Muharram, Sayyidah Zainab goes to her two young boys, Zainab al-Kubra. These are the grandchildren of Amir al-Mu'mineen, by the way, just so you know. Awn is the oldest. Sayyidati, you are Awn, radwanullahi ta'ala alayki. And she says, my boys, it's as if she eulogizes to them and says, my beloved children, I want you to make me proud on the day when your uncle is all alone, facing the opposition. They respond to their mother, oh, our beloved mother. It's our uncle who will not allow us to fight. Abu Abdullah doesn't want to see his nephews die. They're children. Sayyidah Zainab says, my beloveds, oh, the light of my eyes, wait for me as I go and speak to your uncle. She goes to Abu Abdullah and she says to him, oh Habibi Hussein, allow my children to go and fight for you. Abu Abdullah replies, I do not want to see the blood of my nephew spilled. It's as if Sayyidah Zainab is thinking, oh Hussein, Layla gave Akbar, Farwa gave Qasim, and Rabab gave even Ali al-Asghar. I am not going to give anybody. And she says to him, my beloved brother, allow my children to fight. Allow them to make me proud. Imam al-Hussein goes to these two beautiful shining gems and he begins to weep, thinking that they will die, but he cannot refuse the offer of a Sayyidah alayha salam. It's as if they're going to die anyways of thirst. What is it going to mean when they die in the battlefield? At least make me proud. And then they both go to the fields, 13 and 11. The older one, Awn, he goes to the field like a champion, raises his sword, a 13-year-old boy, and he begins to say, I am Muhammad, I am Awn, son of Abdullah, son of Ja'far al-Tayyar, the one who Rasulullah said that he is flying in the heavens with two wings because he lost his hands in the battle of Mu'tah. May Allah bless the blessed hands that fell in Karbala later on. And I will stand against you and defend my uncle and defend the religion of my grandfather Rasulullah. He goes to the battlefield and he actually begins to kill some of them. But of course he is a young boy and they surround him from all corners and they slash him and they smack him and they begin to kick him down. This Awn, he falls to the ground and he says, Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. And then he is killed. His younger brother Muhammad sees this. Imagine this 11-year-old boy, he sees his brother get killed in front of him. The way they killed Awn was that they split his head in half. And then Muhammad comes out and he begins to cry, but he begins to avenge his beloved brother. As he is fighting, of course he's a little boy, what can he fight? They surround him from all corners. Do you know what happened to him? When they struck him on the head, what do the companions say? Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Because he's so little, the strike got him so fast that he didn't even have time to say Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Imam al-Hussein makes his way to the battlefield and he sees his two beloved nephews. He picks them up, the lifeless bodies, and he takes them back to Sayyidah Zainab alayha salam. He says to her, Sayyidati, my beloved sister, these are your 2 children. Do you know Sayyidah Zainab was never narrated to have cried once in Karbala? Do you know why? Ulama say it's because she didn't want to give any more grief in the heart of Aba Abdullah if he sees her crying. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين. فرج عنا يا الله. اللهم إنا نسألك وندعوك باسمك العظيم الأعظم الأعز الأجل الأكرم. إلهي نسألك بحق الحسين أن تجعلنا من أنصاره يا الله في الدنيا. Oh Allah, we ask you on behalf of Imam al-Hussein to make us from the companions of Aba Abdullah in this dunya, and to make us from the companions of Sahib al-Zaman, and to allow us the visitation of Aba Abdullah, and especially the visitation of Onan Muhammad, especially the visitation of Sayyidah Zainab al-Kubra. Oh Allah, we ask you on behalf of Imam al-Hussein to grant us the shafa'ah of Aba Abdullah, and to grant us the intercession of all the mu'mineen and mu'minat that died in your way. وإلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات والعلماء والشهداء سيما من أوصانا بالدعاء رحم الله من قرأ سورة المباركة الفاتحة تصبغها الصلاة على محمد وآل محمد.